Hi, and welcome back to Unhappy Bean Challenge Runs. Today we're playing through a Nintendo classic, where you play as a small kid exploring a place that kind of looks like Earth, collecting little monsters and forcing them to fight for you. No, not Pokemon, Pikmin. It's a completely different game. But the way I'm playing it, I accidentally added child labour laws to this universe. So, can you beat Pikmin without throwing Pikmin? Now, what counts as a throw? I'm saying it's pressing the A button to make a small plant baby fly. Pressing the A button for plucking Pikmin is allowed, and throwing players is also allowed. Only throwing Pikmin is banned. We start off the game by landing on PNF 404. The ship blows up and everyone dies. The end. So yes, we can beat Pikmin without throwing Pikmin. Okay, being serious now, somehow everyone survives that ginormous explosion, and we land on the planet away from the spaceship. Let me just explain something. This is not possible. There are tons of instances throughout the game where throws are required to be able to progress the story, so this is a minimalist challenge run. How many times do you actually need to throw Pikmin to beat Pikmin 3? Our first few come at the literal Pikmin throwing tutorial, where you cannot do anything other than throw Pikmin. So, we have to throw 5 just to get through this one area. And the rest can be completed just by dismissing your Pikmin next to anything you need to destroy. This is a strategy I'll probably be using for the rest of the run. We get eaten by an invisible slug, and then we wake up as Alf. Also, if you do ever accidentally throw a Pikmin like a dumb stupid idiot, the only way to keep the run going is to restart the day, and we're thrown back into some compulsory throws. Thankfully there's only 3 this time, and we can activate the onion and complete the rest of this area and leave to go to the Garden of Hope. Also, if you dismiss while locked onto an enemy, your Pikmin will absolutely shred the target and kill it within an instant. And to unlock the rock Pikmin, we need to kill the medical slugger. It's in the air, out of reach of dismissing, meaning that we need to throw a bunch of Pikmin. My plan was just to throw as many as I could and then record how many that was afterwards. My best score was 20. We rescue Brittany, and unfortunately she does have a compulsory Pikmin throwing tutorial, where you need to throw 5 Pikmin and then are expected to throw them again, but you actually don't have to. You can just collect the Pikmin and then just leave. But as soon as entering the Garden of Hope, we get a new system. The food system. We are going to starve to death if we don't get enough food, and all the food in this level is locked away behind compulsory Pikmin throws. We are going to have to speedrun the Garden of Hope and beat it within 3 days, or we're going to starve. Now this may seem incredibly easy because the world record speedrun at the moment does it within half of 1 day, but we do also have to remember that they have the incredible tactic of being able to press the A button. Here is a bit where we need to throw Brittany and some Pikmin over to make a bridge. The least amount of Pikmin we can throw is 1 rock Pikmin. This is going to take a while. Now knowing this knowledge, I went back to day 2 and tried to do it as fast as possible. Cue the epic speedrun music. Oh, you've nowhere near enough time in one day to rescue Brittany and make the bridge. So I just wasted a Pikmin throw and I'm gonna have to restart. We speedrun through the Garden of Hope again, and now we have enough time to build a bridge. Okay, never mind, we don't. But it's still fine, it's just one more Pikmin throw, it's not that big of a deal. With the bridge complete, we carry on the path to go to our very first boss, the Armored Mordad. And all my Pikmin are dead. Attempt 2. The Armored Mordad is actually a really hard boss. You can't really control where your Pikmin are going, so you just kind of have to hope they're going there. I tried for so long, but I could only manage to get a tiny dent of his tail out. If only there was some sort of way to shred your targets instantly without pressing the A button. Oh wait. Here's the plan. Stay away from the Mordad's mouth. That's the only thing that can actually damage and kill Pikmin. Go around the tail and try to knock out the tail. I'm copying this from the speedrun route. Once you destroy the tail, it's just simple. You just target on and you just press B. It dies within an instant. The Mordad thoroughly turned blue. It actually drops a piece of fruit that we can actually pick up. And we have plenty of time left in the day to get it back to the SS Drake. No starving for us. Please tell me how this ginormous dragon fruit only gives us 2 food juices. With the Garden of Hope finished, I finished the day, and wow, 1 Pikmin died. Anyway, over to the distant tundra. I've got a feeling this time the signal really is coming from the captain. You think? When we enter, the ship once again crashes and everybody gets separated. And thankfully, we actually find yellow Pikmin this way. To get out of the cave and progress the story, we need to push down this giant iron ball, but unfortunately there are only enough Pikmin pellets to get 15 out of the required 20. There is one more that would give us enough, but it's just out of reach. So I gave up and just had to throw 5 more Pikmin up. With enough Pikmin we can push down the iron ball, knocking open the wall, and we're now in the open. And the day cycle starts. For the distant tundra, there are 4 different rubble piles that make one bridge connecting Brittany and Alf. There are 2 piles on Brittany's side and 2 on Alf's side. The one on Alf's side are completely possible without throwing Pikmin, but the one on Brittany's side unfortunately requires rock Pikmin. And there is a place where we can throw rock Pikmin over, so we just throw 1 rock Pikmin, and we can complete the bridge. Thankfully, the distant tundra is full of just random pieces of fruit that we can grab without using Pikmin throws. Also, here is where I found 2 handy tactics. One of them is charging to destroy these crystal walls, picking up your rock Pikmin again, and then charging again. This gets rid of the crystal walls incredibly fast. The other tactic I had was to separate Pikmin. Because you can't separate them by throwing them, you can dismiss them, which separates them into 2 different piles, and then just pick up the one you want, and then just walk away with that. Here is a section where we need to get 20 Pikmin up onto this cliff. We need to throw 20 Pikmin. We throw 20 Pikmin up there, knocking down the ball and opening up the gateway to the boss battle. Grab some more yellow Pikmin, and now we're ready to fight it. Well, we're not quite there yet. We still have to go through some tunnels and fight some monsters, and some compulsory Pikmin throws, only 10 this time. But now we have awakened the Venomous fosbat, who is our second boss of the game. Immediately run away and separate your Pikmin into 2 different piles. Make Alf take the rock and red ones, and make Brittany take all the yellow ones. Let Brittany light up all the lights, and then it's time to fight him for real. Unfortunately, one of the lights does require another 20 Pikmin throws, but now it's time to fight him for real. When he's down, charge. Make sure you do not go in front of him, or else he'll use his suck ability, where he'll probably kill a lot of Pikmin. You're expected to throw Pikmin up to hit him, but you can actually just wait a long time until he will perch down, and then when he does, just lock onto him and charge all your Pikmin. Try to do as much damage in one cycle as possible. Just repeat this strategy a few different times until he's dead. We rescue Captain Charlie, and now we end up in the tropical wilds. In the first part of the tropical wilds, you need to throw your teammates and some Pikmin, and then those teammates again, and the Pikmin again, to be able to get to the other side of the river. But you can actually just throw your teammates and the Pikmin across from the shore. Then we have to spend all day just watching one Pikmin destroy a wall. And we don't even have time in the day to be able to build the bridge, so we have to throw it again. We finish the bridge, and then we have to do another puzzle like the one before, except this time 2 throws are required. Sorry, did I say 2? I meant 20, because you need to push down this paper bag. You could do that, or you could just go fight the boss. Now, the problem with fighting the boss with just one Pikmin is that even if it was possible, which I doubt it is, you still need to be able to get the folded data glutton back to the Drake, and that requires 10 anyway, so you might as well just push down the paper bag and throw 20 Pikmin. With your full squad, fighting the Mere Slug is a lot easier. We can kill it, grabbing the fruit and also some other fruit around the area, and we're officially done with the tropical wilds. I know I did just leave like half the area undone, but that's because it's not required and I cannot be bothered. We now fly into the Twilight River. The first half of the Twilight River can be completed without any Pikmin throws, other than those 3, but anyway, we now get access to probably the most overpowered and broken Pikmin for this exact challenge run, the winged Pikmin. Winged Pikmin can fly, which means you don't need to throw them. Here is a bit where you need to throw a character and some Pikmin over to collect some bridge rubble pieces, but you can actually just dismiss your Pikmin, switch to the other character, and pick up all the fairy ones. Then all the fairy ones will just fly over to you, and you can collect the bridge pieces, no throws necessary. And same as the previous areas, there's plenty of fruit around that we can grab without any Pikmin throws. The rest of the rubble piles can be grabbed, and now it's time to fight the boss. The Scornet Maestro is more one of the fun bosses of the challenge run. It's not exactly the same as the normal one, but it's not too changed. Try not to lose too many Pikmin because you can't get them back. You can if you dismiss your fairy Pikmin while near them, but they don't do a very good job. And also, talking about not doing a very good job, only fairy Pikmin really damage it too much. The other ones don't really get the idea when you just dismiss. For the circle attack, just dismiss your Pikmin and hope they make a hole that you can escape through. This hole should stay for the next round. With enough patience, we can take down the Scornet Maestro and rescue Mr. Not Captain Olimar, who then runs off with all our food into the Garden of Hope. And because our dumb avatars don't realise that he's not Captain Olimar, we have to chase around the Garden of Hope looking for him. We start off by rescuing the blue Pikmin, who let us explore underwater. Most of the Garden of Hope is pretty easy and doesn't require any Pikmin throws. Other than this jerk, he can only be killed by Pikmin throws, and right behind him are some fragments that we need to build a pot. Because we can't kill him, our Pikmin will take a much longer and boring route to get to the pot, filled with fish that are annoying to kill. And killing him with winged Pikmin will just take too long and too much effort, so I just decided to take the long route. There's plenty of food lying around in this new section, and we can grab some food from before using the winged Pikmin. Collect the rest of the pot pieces, and now we've made the pot. Wait, this is a Pikmin throwing bit. So close to doing this area without any Pikmin throws. We need a rock Pikmin to be able to break open this crystal, but if you just dismiss your Pikmin, the ginormous crab that's nearby will just eat your Pikmin, and when it dies you wasted a Pikmin throw, so you have to restart the day. I could get winged Pikmin over, so I tried to just get a bunch of those and then kill the crab with them, but unfortunately winged Pikmin are not the best at killing crabs. But we don't need no bridge, we could just go fight the boss. And because winged Pikmin can fly, we can get Louie back without the bridge. New plan. Spend an entire day running around the Garden of Hope, killing and collecting monsters to turn into winged Pikmin. With over 100 winged Pikmin, I crossed the stream and then went over to go fight the boss. Oh no. No. You need rock Pikmin. I just spent half an hour doing absolutely nothing. New plan. Do throw rock Pikmin across the stream. You can also bring some wing... They can swim? New plan. Drown yourself and then switch to the other teammate and quickly pick up all the rock Pikmin before they drown. This gets them across the stream without you needing to throw them. The next one's slightly more difficult, but can still be done. I only managed to get one rock Pikmin across, but thankfully I found a little spot behind the crystal where the rock Pikmin can actually damage it without being eaten by the crab. While waiting for the crystal to be broken, multitask and grab some food as a different teammate across the other side of the river. Once the rock is finished, grab some winged Pikmin, and then use them to collect the rest of the rubble pieces. Distract the crab by using yourself instead of letting it eat the winged Pikmin. Once the bridge is completed, we can bully up the crab that caused us so much pain, which actually gives us a nice little avocado, grab some Pikmin, and now it's time to fight the boss for real. The Quaggled myoclops can be defeated the normal way. Just aim for the feet, charge on, and do not let 41 of your Pikmin die. Attempt 2. The Quaggled myoclops can be defeated the normal way. Just charge onto the feet, destroy the crystal, avoid the ginormous tongue. Once you break the crystal, just attack his face until he's dead. We now rescue Louis, but more importantly we get a ginormous piece of fruit. Get it all back to the Drake, interrogate Louis, and now we unlock the very last and final area, the Formidable Oak. We find real Captain Olimar, and we have to escort him through the Formidable Oak while getting chased by a ginormous golden gluey substance that's the mysterious life form. Now I'm not going to say that the Formidable Oak is hard, but it's definitely not easy. Just escort Captain Olimar very carefully and don't let him get sucked up, and then we get to the dark room, which is definitely the hardest. Lead Brittany around the circle to distract the mysterious life form while the others build the bridge. Once the bridge is completed, and oh, don't let Captain Olimar get sucked up. Don't worry, it's fine, I got it back, it's alright. Once you build the bridge, you can turn on the lights, and there are 20 Pikmin throws required. The 20th thrown, we now really turn on the lights, and don't let all your Pikmin die to the spider, which I did. And now it's just a straight walk to the finish. We open out and we have escorted Captain Olimar, and now it's time for the very last boss of the game that caused so many conspiracy theories. The Plasma Wraith. You know it's a special boss battle when he has his own health system. Basically his health system works as how much plasma he has on his body. You can only destroy the plasma when it's not on his body. Let him twist it around, spin it all off, and then order your Pikmin to destroy it. He will occasionally splurt out a ginormous piece of plasma that'll turn into a thing you can destroy using the right type of Pikmin, but unfortunately either these are really hard to kill or need Pikmin throws, so we just kind of have to ignore those. I ended up losing a lot of Pikmin on my first attempt, so I decided to take a relaxing holiday in the tropical wilds to kill and get a lot more Pikmin. With 40 of each type, I rematched the Plasma Wraith, who thankfully keeps his health. Don't worry about losing Pikmin, because this is the very last boss battle and you'll never need them again. And you can always go grab some more from the onion, because it's right nearby. After a few days of fighting, Pikmin days that is, I finally managed to kill him, and rescued Captain Olimar. We listened to some childish characters make really manly noises. And with the game completed, it's now time to tally up our score. 5 in the tutorial, 3 to unlock the red onion, 20 to kill the medical slugger, 5 in Brittany's tutorial, 2 to finish the bridge, 5 to get enough Pikmin to push down the giant iron ball, 1 rock Pikmin to complete Brittany's bridge, 20 to push down the other giant iron ball, 10 to turn on the light, 20 to turn on the big light, 2 to complete the other bridge, 20 to push down the paper bag, 3 to unlock winged Pikmin, and 20 to open up the light in the Formidable Oak. And that's it. That brings us to a total score of 135. Yeah, I know that's not a very good score, but it's the minimum, I hope. We fly back to Kopai and starve it to death because I didn't get enough food, and that's the end. This is one of the longest and most fun videos I've ever made. So, goodbye.